So if there's not fuel up here now, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. This is my 1951 Henry J. It hasn't ran in a couple of years, so we're going to get it running and driving, I hope. Now, I got this car a few years ago. It was my uncle's car forever. I bought it from my cousin after my uncle passed away. And I got it running and driving, drove it around the block once, and then it has sat and it hasn't run since. Now, I've been pushing it around the yard and stuff to get it out of my way, and I want to be able to get in it and drive it out of my way instead of pushing it. Maybe drive it to the car show or something after I clean it up. But we're going to get the hood off first because it really doesn't want to open. It wants to bend because it's all gnarled up. I think I can fix it. I'm going to try to get it off first, and then we'll talk about what it's got in it and get started working on it. I'm not even sure if I can get it to really open up. I'm not sure what's binding it. But the hood sure is taking a beating. See if I can figure out what's going on with these hinges. See if I can get them to move some more, and then I'll see if I can actually get the hood off so I can figure out what the actual problem is. I see something's been cut and welded right there. I have to clean all this crap out of the way first. See if I can get the other one to move where it's supposed to be. It might already be moved to where it's supposed to be. I'm not real sure. All right, this side, it looks bent. I'm not sure if it's been cut and welded like the other side. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm not sure if it's just rusty and binding or if it's all bent. None of this looks like it's real good at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these two bolts out. There's one nut right here, I think, holding it together. There's a stud on the hood or something. I'm not positive exactly how that's doing it, but we're gonna try to get the hood off. And then we will put it to the side, get the thing running and driving, and then I can work on the hood and the hinges and see if I can figure out how to make all that much better. All right. I have to get that with a wrench. See if I can get this metal back enough from the bolt to get the socket on it. That's better. Well, that looks rough. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean all this up, get all this leaves and junk and stuff out of here. And then we're gonna talk about what we've got, what all we need to do, see if we can get it running. All right, so here's what we got. The radiator's missing. I'll tell you why in a second. We got a small block Chevy. It's a 350, got a 350 transmission, and we got a Ford 9-inch rear end. This thing has been front clipped. It's got a Mustang 2 front suspension on it. Stock style, nothing fancy. No room for headers, it's got exhaust manifolds. But the fan and the radiator are missing because I needed those for a video a while back. And the car didn't run, so I went out there and snatched the fan off to do a video about fan blades and clutches and stuff like that somewhere. Some kind of video like that. But anyway, I've still got the fan. I've got the radiator up in the garage on the house, so I'm going to go get that. We're going to get the, I've never seen an alternator mount quite like this. You know, the double hump heads is what it's got on there. They're probably 461 or 462 with the big double hump. They don't have bolt holes in the ends of them. And there's all kinds of alternator brackets for that, but I've never seen one like that. It's a little different. It's okay. So we're going to go get all the rest of the parts. I'm going to take the carb off, clean it up, probably throw some new spark plugs in it, check, make sure the oil doesn't have any water in it. It did have a ton of antifreeze in it, so I'm not worried about it freezing while it's been sitting for a couple of years. But get everything put back together and then see if we can get this thing to fire up and see how good it's going to run. Probably got to set timing and adjust the carburetor and all that stuff. Might have to rebuild the carburetor. It looks kind of nasty, so we'll see. All right, looking down in the carburetor, not sure if you can see it or not, but it looks kind of nasty down there. So what I might better do, I'm going to take the carburetor off, but I'm going to throw a ratchet on the crank real quick and make sure this thing isn't locked up. I'd be sick if that was the case, but let's throw a ratchet on here and find out. All right, let's hope this thing will turn over okay. Okay, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, it made a little noise when it turned over, but it turned over. Okay, I think we're good. Take the carburetor off and get it cleaned up, look down in the intake, make sure we don't see any signs of moisture in the intake. I saw a little bit of rust on the carburetor blades, so I'm kind of worried that water got in the carburetor. It did have an air cleaner on it, but that doesn't mean anything. It wasn't much of an air cleaner. The gas smells really, really good, so that's a lie because it smells like straight lacquer thinner. So probably have to flush the fuel tank and the lines and the needling seats and everything else. Oh, yes, that's pretty bad. That's awful. But we'll get it figured out. Man, that thing don't want to budge. Let's see if we can break something here. Here we go. That's better. It's pretty nasty in there. It doesn't necessarily look like it got water in it, but it's got bug turds in it or some kind of residue. I'm not sure. I mean, it's got acorns and stuff and leaves all around the outside. So I'll vacuum all that up and maybe we'll pull the valve covers off and see how it looks in there. I've never had the valve covers off this engine. I don't think. Maybe I have. But maybe when I first got it running, but I can't remember. So we're gonna clean it all up, go through the carburetor, see how it looks. All right, carburetor is now rebuilt. I probably could have done a better job cleaning some of the stains and stuff out of there, but it's cleaner than it looks, I promise. Bowls are cleaned out, all new needling seats, all new gaskets, new accelerator pump, because this one was shot. New power valve. It actually had a power valve block off in it. So I've got everything adjusted where it should be. My transfer slot on the bottom is barely showing like it should be. So that should be fine. Hopefully everything, the floats are adjusted where they're supposed to be. New needling seats. Everything should be great. So now we've got to move on to getting the fuel system cleaned out. I'm not sure how much fuel is in this tank, but I'm going to see if I can get most of it out. Clean out. Hopefully the pump still works, because as much as the carburetor was gummed up, I'm worried that the fuel pump's not going to work, but I've got one laying around if I need to change that. And then I need to clean the intake a little bit more. And then hopefully we can put this thing back together. Now the fan that I had on this, I actually used it on the Nova car. So that's a video nobody watched. But anyway, that's where the fan is, and I'm not going to pull it back off to put it on here. So what I'll probably do is stick the radiator back in here, see how much room, and put an electric fan on it. But then the wiring on this car is so sketchy that I'm not sure I want to put an electric fan on it. So I went ahead and ordered another of the little Star Flex fans so I can put it back on here. But I'm just not going to rob the one off the other car, because I'm trying to keep from making cars inoperable. I'm trying to put some more together so I can have something that'll crank up and run. Because I'm telling you, having to push these things out of the way every time you have to move one is a pain in the butt. That's why I built the Nova Cart. I really, that saved me some room on some parts. I put all the parts into one car, made it run and drive. Now I can get in it, crank it up, move it whenever I want to. Same thing for this thing. I want to be able to crank it up, move it around the yard if it's in the way or whatever, without having to push it or pull it or whatever. And I never have help. I'm always by myself usually when I'm working on this stuff. So it's just easier if I can make it run and drive. All right. Okay, so this Henry J still has a factory style tank in it, and the filler neck is up there, and it's got a drain plug on it. So we're going to try to drain it, and it sounds like it's got a little fuel in it, so hopefully we can drain it, and that won't break off. Because if that breaks off, I mean, yeah, we're going to drain it, but then we're going to need a fuel tank, which you can buy these, but brand new. But I'll probably put a fuel cell in it if I can't use this tank. All right. So I did get it to come loose. I got my catch can under here. And nothing's coming out. All right, now let me get something to stick in it. All right, now we're draining. Okay, so I got all the fuel out, got my plug back in. Now let's throw the carburetor on. All right. Should be a lot better. I gotta get some vacuum caps and cover up the port on the back and the two ports up front because they were rotten. And then I gotta do a better job with my throttle cable and throttle bracket that are really janky. So, yeah, I gotta figure that out, that's for sure. And see, it's got this other bracket on this carburetor, and I'm not sure what that's from or for. So I may have to redo all of this because this is too far over this way. It needs to be farther that way. But cable's so short, I'm not sure if I can keep it right there. Of course, it's hitting the the bracket's not sitting square either, so I might figure that out. Okay, so since my throttle cable and bracket and all that was just terrible, I ran up to Summit real quick. I got a throttle cable bracket, throttle cable, and a throttle pedal, because the pedal that's in here is it's not great and it's kind of clunky. So I bought a little billet one, which, you know, should work a lot better. We'll see. So now we can get our throttle cable bracket on, get the throttle cable in, get the pedal changed over. I still got to bolt the carb down, but I was waiting to do that until I got the bracket. And then we can put some new fuel in the tank, spin it over, hopefully pump out some of the old nasty fuel if the fuel pump will work, and then maybe fire it up. Now this bracket's pretty cool. It does come with a stop to keep the bracket from turning against the base of the carburetor. So you can adjust that how you want, so that's pretty cool. And about where it is right now is probably going to be where I need it. So that shouldn't be too bad. Okay, I've got my old throttle cable out of the way. You can see the little hole back there. I've got my ball in here. I got that other weird funky bracket that was on here off. Got that bracket mounted, and now I've got to get the old gas pedal off, and it is welded in place. So it's got a screw right here in the top on this side, and a little weld, and then it's got a couple of welds on this side. So I'm gonna get my cutoff wheel in here, cut these welds, and pry this out of the way, pop it out of the way, and then figure out how I'm going to get this other one mounted. I got the welds on this side cut. I got the little Tech screw out of that side, and hopefully, well, am I missing another weld or what? Did I not cut all the way through it? I figured it would bend over pretty easy, but it's not. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot holding that in, but that's okay. It's not a brake pedal. It's a go pedal. So yeah. I'll get the firewall cleaned up, and then we'll see if we can get the new one mounted in there. All right, so sitting in this thing, if I'm sitting in the seat straight, the steering wheel is a little off. It's over here. Now, I have room to move the seat over, which is probably what I need to do because the center wheel is kind of in the middle of the window here. One of the problems is if I keep everything like it is and I want to put headers on this thing, it's impossible because the steering column's in the way, among other things. The other thing is the way the transmission tunnel has been formed, where the firewall has been cut and set back for a small block to fit in it. You can see where the fuel pedal was before the gas pedal was, and it's over here, and you got very limited travel because of the transmission tunnel. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my brackets gonna hang the gas pedal over this way and put it down here over this void. I don't think I could notch that in. I really don't want to get into that much work on the tunnel. And then I can do that. Well, then my brake pedal is pretty much in line with my steering wheel, and I don't like that. So I've either got to reshape this lever, or I've got to move all that and the bracing and stuff that goes with it over, which that's not going to happen now. That might happen later. Right now, I think I'm just going to move the gas pedal. I'm going to make me a bracket that mounts to the firewall and maybe has a reinforcement off the back of it to keep it from bending, and get the gas pedal out here where it'll work, and I'll have some travel on it, and then I'll have to put me a new hole up there and run the cable through. So I'm going to see if I can get this figured out, how to mount this, and then once I get this mounted, we can get the cable hooked up, and hopefully we'll be one step closer to driving this thing around. Okay, here's what I came up with. I made me a little plate to go on the back of this, and then I broke it. Try it again. I made a little plate to go on the back of this. I used some Allen head bolts to sink into the bracket. It did not come with any hardware. Then I used some Nylock nuts on the back. This is also threaded, but it's so thin that it didn't really grab. So I was going to put Nylocks on it anyway, but I wanted a little bit extra. I wanted it to fit tight, so that's why I threaded this piece also. And then I've got a backing plate that I'm going to sandwich on the firewall, which is right here, and it's also got somewhat threads in it. Again, it's real thin, couldn't cut much threads in it, and probably used the wrong size bit to make my hole for the tapper. But we're going to put this on, get this adjusted on the firewall like I want it, and then we're going to get our holes drilled, put the backing plate on, and get this mounted. The one thing I don't like is this thing has a little bit of side-to-side wobble in it as far as the pedal. The Low Carb brand probably wouldn't have had that. This is the Summit brand. I'll probably come up with a washer or something to put in here and tighten that up as long as it still moves freely. But other than that, it's a nice piece, and it's cheap, which is what I wanted. It's like half the price of the Low Carb pedal, so I guess that's what you get. But anyway, we're going to get this thing mounted, get some holes drilled in the firewall, and then we can hook our cable up finally. Okay, I got my throttle cable in, got my return spring hooked up, carburetor's hooked up, everything's good. It doesn't have a lot of travel on the pedal, and the spring on the pedal keeps it kind of angled down a little bit, but it's definitely secure. The pedal is adjustable. I had it farther out, but the problem was it was hitting the, or it would not hit this, so it didn't have a stop. Now, it kind of, it goes down when I give it gas and it stops on the floorboard. So that's kind of working as a stop so I don't break the cable or break something on the carburetor. So it does not have a lot of travel though, so it's going to be an on-off switch. Maybe. We'll see. Turned out pretty good. All right, so now I can get the radiator and fan mounted. Now the radiator's sitting over there by the flow bench, and we're going to get it set in there and figure out where we're going to mount the fan. Now I don't know what kind of radiator this is, where it came out of originally. But it fits in here pretty good. It was, you know, this was obviously fabbed for this. Problem is, if I need to get another radiator, I'm gonna have to figure out what this is so I can make it fit. So we're gonna leave that in there like that, and then I'm gonna try to get the fan figured out where I'm gonna put the fan, and then we can pull it back out, get the fan mounted, and put it back in. All right, so I picked up this 12-inch fan. I think it's a 12-inch fan. I picked up this fan from Summit. It's small, but it should be enough air considering how thick this radiator is and how big it is and how stock the engine is. I mean, it's got a little RV can or something in it, but this ought to be fine. And without a shroud, it's just going to pull. I'm going to put it over here on the incoming side of the radiator so that it gets the hottest part. And probably put it down here. So I've got plenty of clearance between my water pump. I don't know if you can see that or not. I've got plenty of clearance between my pulley and my fan. So something like that should work. Like I said, yeah. So we'll stay about an inch off of the side right here, and then about an inch from the top. That should be pretty good. All right, see if we can get this. we got the radiator in. I can get the battery hooked up. I can get some fuel in the tank. I can hope this thing spins over when I turn the key, and we can point the outlet of the fuel pump into a bucket, collect some old fuel, whatever, flush the lines out. Then we can put a fuel filter in line, and hopefully this thing will start up, maybe. All right, I dressed up my terminals with the wire brush. So we're going to see. I'm not sure if this will go through here. Yeah. All right. And whatever's left of my terminals, anyway, I've got these brass posts to put through there, tighten everything up. And I made sure my key was off, because again, this thing's been sitting and I have no idea about the electrical on this thing. It looks sketchy. It might not be as sketchy as I was worried about, because I started looking at, I looked a little bit at the fuse panel, and it looks like everything is kind of protected, but I don't know how well. So I don't really think that grabbed much threads. I might have to put a bolt in that one. No, it looks okay. All right. Let's see if this thing will spin over. Now, I haven't put any gas or anything in it yet, but we're going to bump it and see if it'll just spin over just a little bit. Something under the dash is lit up. I don't know what that is. Starter really sounds like crap, but it does work. So what we're going to do is get some fuel in it and see if we can purge the lines. Now luckily this fuel line right here, it goes up to the carburetor, is very long, so I should be able to run this. Whew, I just already smell fuel moving around under there. Run this out, and I'm gonna run it into my little catch can. Yeah, already a little bit of fuel's coming out, but that's probably just what was in the line. And it looks like sweet tea. It doesn't look very good. Yep. All right, let's give it a little drink of 87 octane non-ethanol. All right, we're gonna spin it over now and see if we pump some fuel out. And looks like a little bit might have come out. I can't see it from where I was at, but we're gonna spin it over just a little bit more. All right, so apparently not a bunch is coming out. So what I'm gonna do, I looked at the second video and not a lot came out. So I'm gonna prime the carburetor with a little bit of carburetor cleaner and see if we can get it to fire off just a little bit. And hopefully it'll fire off and prime the pump a little better. Can't really tell. All right, we're gonna prime it again with the camera on the hand so I can tell if it's getting any. Let's see. I think the starter's getting worse. Oh yeah, okay, we definitely got some fuel out that time. All right. See about, got a fuel filter here, inlet. See about where I want to put it. Cut that there. Some of the alternator like it was before. Up to the carb. And tighten it up. All right, so we've got fuel filter in place. I need to put a strap on my battery, but I'll get to that in a few minutes, or I'll forget and dump the battery over on the engine later. One of the two. Got my carburetor hooked up. Everything's bolted down. We've had it running, so we know it'll fire off. Probably need to check the timing and stuff at some point, but let's see how it runs. I'm going to get some carb cleaner in here, see if I can fire it up on carb cleaner. Hopefully get enough fuel up here where they get some fuel in the bowls, and then we'll see if we can get it to idle. Now, I do not have the electric choke hooked up, and it is fairly cool out here this morning. It's probably 50 degrees or so, but with the choke closed, maybe it'll do okay. We'll see. All right, I've got the battery hooked up. Still not strapped down. I need to make sure I've got oil pressure, which I didn't look. I thought I saw it move earlier when I was cranking it over. Need to make sure I've got oil pressure. Need to see if we can get fuel to the float bowls. And then I got to get water in it still. Haven't done that. And then I probably need to check the oil, make sure it don't have water in it, but it shouldn't. So we're going to get it fired up, see if it'll run, and hopefully get the fuel up here pretty quick so I don't have to keep adding a bunch of carburetor cleaner to it. That's a good bit. Probably be all right. Let's see what it does here. Let's see. All right, no fuel yet. We'll give it one more squirt, and then I'll just start putting gas in it instead of cleaner. And hopefully that'll be enough to get some fuel up to the bowl. All right. No fuel yet. I guess I'll pour some fuel down in the vent. I don't see any reason it wouldn't crank because it fired off when we were trying to get the fuel pump cleared out. So really it should fire off with no problem. Just who knows if it's going to run or if it's going to pump some fuel up to the bowl. So we're going to see what it does that way. All right, got a little gas down the carb. Now I'm gonna see if this thing will fire. All right, so it did not want to crank. So I threw some new plugs in it. The old ones were fouled out, but not soaking wet. So we're gonna hook the battery up, pour some fuel in it, and see if this thing will run any better at all. Doesn't really want to. Maybe it's not getting enough. Let's see if that's enough fuel. Okay, I got a bungee strap on the battery. We're gonna crank it up, see if we can get it warm enough to idle. And hopefully I won't have to hook the electric choke up. And then we'll gotta get some antifreeze in it and get the radiator cap on. Again, we're not getting fuel. Let's get the fuel line off. There's a little bit of fuel in there, not a bunch. I've already got 2 float bowl screws loose. Let's get the other 2 loose, knock the float bowl off, and see if it's... I poured some in there, so there's some coming out. I mean, there was some in there, but sure wasn't full. So I don't think the fuel pump is working. I got the carburetor bowl back on. Everything was okay with that. I checked the needle, the seat, everything's good. So I guess now I've got to change the fuel pump because it doesn't seem to either, it's not picking fuel up at the back or it's not pumping. And as long as this thing sat with bad fuel in it, it's probably just a bad pump. So I'm going to go pick another one up and we'll come back to it. All right, Ram picked up a new fuel pump. It's pretty much identical. I already swapped my little nipple over. So I'm going to get the old gasket scraped off, get this put on, and hopefully we'll get some fuel. Fuel pump is finally changed. It's a little more difficult than I thought. But it mainly dealing with the push rod. I had to take both the fuel pump off and the plate to get the push rod up where it needed to be, hold it in place, put everything back together. So other than that, not too terrible. So we're going to try to put some gas in this thing, try to get some clean gas up, and I squeezed the fuel pump a little bit on the bench, and it wasn't really doing what it's supposed to. So pretty sure that was a lot of the problem. And I should have changed it when I was doing everything else, just because. So anyway, let's get this thing fired up, see if it's going to run. All right, put some in the car, put some in the bowl. Maybe it'll run long enough to pump some fuel from the tank. All right. Let's see if I'm getting any squirt from my accelerator pump. Nope, nothing. Let's try one more time. See what it does this time. Still doesn't seem like I'm getting any fuel up here whatsoever, so not sure. All right, let's see if I'm getting fuel. No, and I emptied this hose out when I changed the fuel pump, so if there's definitely not any fuel getting up from the fuel pump. So I'm not sure if the pickup in the tank, the outlet of the tank is kind of in the middle of the tank, and I don't know if it goes down. That's why I put more gas in it earlier, because I wasn't sure if the pickup is there or if it's, I don't know. Let's try this one more time. All right. Yeah, ran out the bowl what was in there already. So shit, I don't know. Well, I started tracking the fuel line down and I found this. So the valve's open. That is beyond janky. You know, I remembered finding this when I first got the car and I forgot about it until just now. So I'm gonna close the valve and then I'm gonna get this filter off and see if there's any fuel coming out here, because this might be my problem. So I got the fuel filter bypassed. I just put a little loop on there and took this thing out, since I've already got a filter up by the pump. So loop that off and that'll work for the moment. All right, so now that I've got way more gas in the tank, then I'll be able to drive out anytime soon, because this thing still is not licensed. So tagged and all that stuff. But let's see if we're gonna get fuel flow up to the carburetor finally. That definitely ran long enough. So if there's not fuel up here now, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so I finally ended up just pulling the gas tank because I couldn't get any fuel up. I tried to blow air back into the tank from where the fuel filter used to be that I bypassed, and it still wouldn't blow air into the tank. So then I pulled the tank out and now we have this. So that's clogged up. So I'm gonna have to clean this little section right here out of this factory tank, and hopefully I get that clean enough to where it'll work. All right, so this little nipple comes off the side of the tank. It was clogged up on the end. I cleaned out the first few inches of it, and then it still wouldn't move any air. So I'm testing it with air. So I took it out, cleaned this end out of it, and then I had to clean out the part of the tank right here where the nipple goes into the tank. And now finally it's clear. Let's see. So yeah. And then this piece right here is also clear. So we're gonna put it back together, but before I do that, I'm gonna turn this tank over with the neck pointing down into the trash can, and I'm gonna kind of beat on this a little bit with my plastic mallet and see if I can knock some of the rust loose and hopefully get a lot of the little flaky stuff out. And then also hope I don't create a pinhole in this tank somewhere. But it seems to be in pretty good shape other than a bunch of grunk on the inside. So we'll see. And this should be about 3 gallons. Should be enough to make sure this thing picks up and works good. I hope. Okay, fuel tank is cleaned out. I've got all my fuel lines hooked back up. Hopefully this is going to work. So I'm going to put a little bit in the fuel bowl, not much. Just a little bit so it'll stay running. Some down the carburetor, and hopefully this thing will crank up and the fuel bowl will fill up and it will pull some fuel from the tank. guys have fixed it, huh? And that's a pretty cold start because it's like 50 degrees in here right now. So we're pretty happy with that. I can't breathe now because of the fumes, but pretty happy with that. All right, so here's where we are. I did get the hood fixed. It's laying right here. I got it fixed good enough. I got the cracks welded up in it, got the bends fixed, straightened out a little bit, but the hood hinges are junk. These things are irreparably bent. That's as far as the hood hinge will close, and it's got to close to where it's pretty much flat, so it won't let the hood down all the way, which is why the hood keeps bending. And both hinges are like that. One side is worse than the other. The driver's side looks like it's been broken and re-welded. So who knows where it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to order new hinges for it. Now, I'm going to drive this thing without the hood on it. And then when I park it in the yard, because I need room in the shop to work on other stuff, I'm going to just set the hood on it without the hinges in the way so it'll set down flush. And then I'll just order some new hinges and then I'll get it fixed later. So what I need to do to drive it, I got to hook the battery up, crank it up, get it warmed up. I'm going to throw an air cleaner on it real quick. And then clean a few things out of the car. Clean the t-shirts off of the seats, my t-shirt seat covers that my uncle left in there like that. Put some air in the tires. Well, I think I just need air in one tire. Yeah, this one needs air. The rest of them look okay, which is good because these tires are so old, I'm scared to death to put air in them. I don't want to get up with a face full of tire. So we're going to get the air cleaner on, air in the tire, clean it out a little bit. We're going to go for a little short drive. This is an old air filter, but it'll work fine for this. And then hopefully I won't have to pour fuel down the carburetor to get it started. I should have plenty of accelerator pump, so now that we're getting fuel up here, it should be pretty easy to get cranked. So we're going to hook the battery up. And hope this thing will crank up without too much drama. Especially since I don't have my electric choke hooked up. Of course, I never did get my electric fan hooked up either. But it's still 40-something degrees outside. There's the high, so I don't think we're going to need the fan. Even though I probably should go ahead and hook it up while I'm here. But we're not. So let's see if this thing will fire up. Not bad. This thing's been sitting cold for a few days. Okay, I can live with that. So now that I've got it where I can't hardly breathe in here from the fumes, I can lift my plastic up and I can start cleaning the interior out just a little bit. Now this is a cool Henry J shirt, but I don't think I'm going to get this thing off without tearing it up. Maybe I will. Okay. No, I ripped it. It's kind of dry rotted. All right. Let's see if we can drive this junk. right, I guess I need to add some transmission fluid to it. So it didn't want to move, so I hope that's all it is, because I will be very upset if transmission's bad. But I'm sure it's just low on fluid. It's been sitting a long time. All right, it was quite low on transmission fluid, so let's see what this thing will do. temp gauge works or not. Oh, we can go by. This thing is all over the place. right here, see what it looks like. It's smoking a little bit, but probably just where I dropped oil or transmission fluid on it. Okay, well, it's definitely got some pressure on the radiator hose, that's for sure. The battery didn't go anywhere, which is shocking. So it didn't do too bad. Now this deck lid was just beating everything to death. Of course, there's still a bunch of stuff laying around back here. The driver's window, bunch of nastiness over there. It didn't do too bad. Now we're going to see if it'll do a burnout, because, you know, I have to do that. It looks like the temperature gauge started working after the burnout, so yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. It's up higher than it was anyway. It might not be working, but it's doing something. Of course, you know, the oil pressure gauge looks like it's yeah, no, it's on 0. Okay. All right, now we got to get the hood on it and get it parked outside so I get another project in here. There we go. Close enough. That'll keep the rain out of it. All right, so it will do a burnout. Now, we're gonna have this thing run and drive. I don't have to push it or pull it around the yard anymore. That was my main goal. Now, if you wanted to road trip this thing, you'd need things like, you know, turn signals, brake lights, a driver's door glass, at least because it's winter now, or cold. I shouldn't say winter, because this is Georgia. We don't really have winter. We have cold weather and hot weather. That's some cold weather and then really hot weather, whatever. But this thing runs and drives now. I can crank it up, move it around the yard. That's the big plus. That's what I wanted to happen. Now we're going to get something else in the shop, work on the 4-door some more, and get some more videos out. We'll see you next one.